And welcome back to Nancy's Neighborhood, folks. It's good to be with you. I was gone for a few days, and I've decided as a business owner, you don't take 10 days off and then come back and expect everything to have already happened that needed to happen. And so this has been a crazy week, but I'm glad to be back on TV with you, and I'm glad to bring Nancy's Neighborhood back to you. And so that's the reason we're bringing some new things to you today. So I contacted Mr. Dwight Richardson, and I asked him if he would come on and talk to us about this really neat event, and it's called Spirits, Legends, and Lore, and it's a really super event. And I wanted Dwight to come and promo it for you because it's coming up pretty soon, and he's going to tell us there's going to be limited seating, limited tickets. So that's the reason I wanted him on right now. So Dwight, tell us all about it.
Thank you. Now, you're a past educator, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Forgive me for saying this, but Nancy, this year's event of Spirits, Legends, and Lore is going to be the most bestest we've ever had.
Oh, good. The most bestest. Okay, that gave it a superlative. Okay, there we go. All right.
See, I went to Bertram, Missouri grade school. That's where I learned all
Oh,
that
okay,
stuff.
okay.
Anyway, I brought a little poster, but this is how often can you get to tell stories on Friday the 13th?
This is awesome.
This
Yes.
is a rare event, and typically we have it closer to Halloween, but we just hardly couldn't turn down Friday the 13th.
Absolutely not.
And this will be in just about a month or so, well, a little under a month now. It will be at the Black Box Theater on Lee University's campus. It's not a Lee University event. They're just letting us use that facility because it's such a fantastic facility. It's a black box theater, limited props, the acoustics is great. There's only going to be about 150 some odd seats, and that's all we could have. It's one show only at 7 o'clock.
Oh, you're just doing the one show.
Typically, we have done two.
Yes.
But this year, we decided to do one show only, just pack it out and to get it done and get it over with.
Okay.
It is going to be such a good event. I did bring a poster. Bryce, if you can kind of see this here for Nancy here.
Thank you.
I brought this
so
poster
much.
in case we need to see it. One of the stories we're going to be telling is called The Real Homer Simpson. And this is a book by Dennis Stewart. There was an article a couple weeks in the paper. I think you were gone at that time.
I mentioned it to you, though.
But it was a fabulous article that William Wright wrote for the Banner. We're going to be telling this story. Homer Simpson is not the cartoon character, a real live character back in the 30s. That was a 3-time sheriff here in Cleveland. He was the most popular sheriff we've ever had. And to make a long story short, after the 4th time he ran for sheriff and lost, I think he was in his 40s. I'm not sure. I'd have to read up on that again. But anyway, he met some old Army buddies. They kind of hooked up together. And somehow or another, they went off to the southern part of Georgia, right at the Florida line, and robbed a bank. And there was a guard killed in this robbery. He happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and was electrocuted a few months later.
Whoa.
When they shipped him back to Cleveland, 10,000 people attended his funeral at North Cleveland Church of God.
Wow.
And it's a fabulous story. It's a sad story, but it's a great story. And he's got a lot of relatives here in Cleveland that you know about. I won't tell you who they are, but we can find out that night. But there's a lot of people in Cleveland that are in government and school teachers and different things that are kin to this guy right here.
Okay,
It's a great story.
Do you want to tell us who's telling that story, or do you
Oh,
want
I'm
to
sorry,
save
yes.
No, I thought you might be going to surprise us.
TV anchor from Channel 3, Greg Glover, will be telling this story. He was with us last year.
Yes, and he did a great job.
He's a great storyteller anyway, but we're excited to have him tell this story. He had never heard of this story, so he's read the book, he's got it ready, and so come out and hear Greg Glover. He's a great storyteller.
Yeah, he did the Confederate.
He did a Confederate piece last year,
Yes,
yeah, the
and
17.
he was really good,
Yeah.
yes.
Now the 17, we're not telling that this year, but that's the Confederate train wreck that had just on the other side of Cleveland here toward McDonald that killed 17 17 soldiers.
That's it, okay. And we may kill 17 stories before this is over.
Is it okay if I tell you kind of who some of the
Sure, I'd
storytellers
love for
are?
you to. That'll sell more tickets.
I will. A lot of these are professional storytellers from the Cleveland Storytelling Guild, but we do have guest storytellers. One of the guest storytellers is Connie Gatlin. If you know anything about Connie Gatlin, she's the owner of Cleveland City Ballet. She is a fabulous storyteller, and she's going to be telling the ever-popular Stamper Ghost.
Oh, good, okay.
And that's a great story. We're going to try to have an illusion there. It's kind of hard to have an illusion in a black box there. We're going to try our best to do that. But if you haven't heard the Stamper story, which is a true story.
It is.
And let me tell you this little snippet real quick. I don't know how much time we got.
I don't know, but just go ahead and take it.
But when I was telling the Stamper story to Melissa Woody one day, her little girl was there that does internship with her. And she said, I saw that ghost. And I said, you what? She said, I saw that ghost. I said, you know about the Stamper ghost? She said, yeah, I saw that ghost. And she started telling me the story of when she was about 5 or 6 years old. They were in Stampers up the mezzanine, which is the opposite mezzanine we've always told the story on. It was the other mezzanine, which is the old appliance department area,
Okay.
which goes over to Horner's and go over to the funeral home that used to be that way. Well, she got told about this door in the back of the building and just told everything just like it was supposed to be. Well, I thought, that's really odd. And then about 3 weeks later, I get this Facebook message from a lady in Alabama. And she said, they've told me to contact you because you know something about the Stamper ghost. And I thought, well, who is this woman, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, you better tell me what you're talking about first before I tell everything I know.
Right.
She said, I did not plan to come through Cleveland, and I happened to come through Cleveland. I was in the downtown area, and I loved your quaint downtown. She said, I happened to go in Stamper's Furniture Store. I'd never been in there, never heard of Stamper's Furniture Store. She said, and I went up the mezzanine level where the old appliance department is. She said, the strangest thing happened to me there. It was like somebody trying to push me down the stairs. She said, I wasn't scared, but she said somebody was trying to force me down those stairs. And she said, and she named the door in the very corner, just like that girl. Neither one of those know each other. So I told Joe Stamper, I said, Joe, I believe we've been telling this story all wrong. I said, we've talked about the big stairway that goes up in the mezzanine, but it just so happens that it's the other mezzanine, which just so happens to be a door with a big room back there. I used to work at Stamper's, and I didn't know there was a room back in that place. But that's where they store all their Christmas stuff.
Oh,
and both of
wow.
those girls mentioned that door, and they said, I never saw behind the door, but that figure went inside that door. Well, that happens to be Mrs. Leeper's relatives were the Horners. And Mrs. Leeper had a millinery store right there at that corner. So we don't know if there was one time a stairway that went down there, but the lady from Alabama, I don't want to give this away too much, she said, all I need to tell you is the young girl wanted me to tell you that she was murdered. She was pushed down the stairs. She didn't fall down the stairs.
Oh, my goodness.
So I don't know where all that's going to
Whoa.
end. And I never heard from the lady again. You know, I thought this may be a crazy person out there that's trying to stir up something, but I never heard from her again.
So Connie's going to tell this story.
Connie's going to tell the Stamper ghost.
The Stamper ghost, okay.
Then we've got Deborah Holland, Deborah Nara Holland, a lot of you know, that fabulous story that we tell year after year, but people love it, Bloodstains on the Mausoleum.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to tell that story.
She does such a good job.
And she does a good job on that. We've got a new storyteller this year named Rob Alderman.
Oh, yeah.
I think you probably know Rob.
Alderman, yes.
He's going to be talking about blue suede and copper.
Oh, this is
the Elvis
story.
And you that love Elvis need to come because this is a story you don't have any idea. When you saw Elvis laid out in a copper coffin, that coffin came from Cleveland, Tennessee.
Yes.
And we're going to tell you that story. It's a fabulous little story,
Yeah.
and it's true.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
You know, they had to have 8 people carry that coffin because it's solid copper,
Wow.
and it was so heavy. But that came from Rush Funeral Home right here in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Okay, so
Great
there's going to
story.
be that story. And Rob Alderman.
Rob Alderman, yeah.
Oh,
He'll
Lord.
be a little animated
Let's
probably.
see how sacrilegious on Elvis we
I
can get
know.
with that one. Okay.
And then real quickly on this, and I got to hurry, the suicide of Lillian Hutzel is another fabulous story. It's a brand new story this year. Melissa Woody from the Chamber will be telling that. She's going to be portraying a person named Eula Hampton. I don't know if you've heard of Leah Hampton, but she was a member at Broad Street.
Oh, okay.
And I believe there was a Hampton that was a minister at Broad Street at one time.
Okay.
All I know is her father was a minister.
Okay.
But anyway, she was a very wealthy lady in the 60s and 50s and 60s here in Cleveland, owned a lot of businesses. She was best friends with Lillian Hutzel. This book is called The Suicide of Lillian Hutzel, but as the story reveals, you're going to find out it probably wasn't a suicide.
Okay. Okay.
And I won't tell you any more about it because you
Okay.
need to come hear that
All
story.
right.
Both of these books were written by Dennis Stewart. He's a local author. I think he lives in Etowah. He's going to be with us that night.
Oh, good.
And he is so excited because he's never heard any stories on his books. It'd be great.
Stories about
It'd
his
be great.
stories.
Yeah. No
That
story
is
about his
super.
story. That's
That
right.
is super.
Judy Baker is going to be talking about the woman in black. Back in the mid-30s and 40s, people would be walking downtown Cleveland and different places, and all of a sudden, there'd be a woman behind them walking in total black with yellow gloves. She never hurt anybody. She never caused any issue, but she would follow these people, and then all of a sudden, she'd just disappear. So
Lord.
that's a good folklore story.
It
Judy
is.
Baker's going to be telling that
And
one.
she's
The
such a
Woman in
good
Black.
storyteller. She
The
is a
Woman in
good
Black.
storyteller.
And Pete Vanderpool, he's going to be telling a story we've done before, but it's such a good story, Lights of the Presbyterian Ghost. Are you familiar with that? Okay, the former pastor actually saw this light. So we know part of this is going to be true folklore.
All right.
And Pete Vanderpool tells a good story about the Confederate surgery. That was a Confederate hospital in its day. And so Lights of Presbyterian Ghosts, you'll need to find out what kind of light and what they're searching for in the grounds there at Presbyterian Church
Oh,
downtown.
it wasn't inside the church. It was
outside. Yeah, they would always
Oh,
see through the windows where they would see the light.
I got you.
And
Okay.
he was searching for something, and we'll try to tell you what that
So
was.
how many stories was that? 7?
That is 7.
7 stories.
And then
okay.
we're going to have Tim Poteet come back again.
Oh, Tim is
and
wonderful.
he's going to sing and play the guitar. He's
yeah.
going to do Mary, Bringing Mary Home. That's a
Oh,
fabulous little
it
song.
is, it is.
And you're just going to have to hear that song. It's such an eerie song, and it's a great song. So we're so excited about all
I
that.
think this is great. So we're talking about Friday, October the 13th. Friday the 13th, folks. Now
Yes.
that's not going to be hard to remember.
Yeah.
And it's going to start at 7.
7:00. There's only one show only. Tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for children. And this is not a haunted house. Nobody's going to jump out and stab anybody or blood or guts or anything. But because of the situation and the story and the intimacy of that auditorium, we would ask that no children under 6 years old attend because they could sometimes get a little spooked and they
Yeah.
could break the thing. And it's not that they're not welcome. It's just I don't want that.
Well, they could
broken
break the
thing.
rhythm of
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah, and I don't want them to be scared.
No, and it's okay, and it's in the building called the Communication Building.
Yeah.
The big pretty building that's on the corner of
Central and Ocoee.
Ocoee and Central. Yes.
On the opposite side of St. Luke's.
Yes, yes. And it's going to be in the Black Box Theater there. $10 a ticket.
Rain or shine, it's not going to make you a difference.
Right.
You got a good place to come. Tickets are on sale right now and up to the day at the Chamber of Commerce office there on Ocoee Street or the downtown branch of Bank of Cleveland.
Chamber of Commerce building is over on Keith Street.
What'd I say?
Ocoee Street, but that's okay. I just don't want them going to the wrong place.
Hey, I've
Okay.
never been on TV before.
Oh, Lordy, Lord, Lord, Lord. I think that's wrong. I believe you did floor arrangements for me one time. I made
Yeah,
a wreath or
I've been
something.
on here 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I didn't
But
mean to lie.
This is a fundraiser, but we never make a whole lot of money on it
Right.
because it's limited seating. And I will say that I like this venue better than before when you did it. You went to Stampers, you went to Bank of Cleveland, you went to,
yeah.
and a lot of people didn't like that. They would preferred being in one place.
Yeah.
So now
Well,
you're
if you
in
can-
one place.
If you can walk, it's fine. But if you can't walk well, then it gets a little cumbersome. We do 2 or 3 blocks of that. But yeah, this is comfortable seating. The seats are about that thick.
They are. They're nice.
They're fine. They're wonderful. There's not it's a graduated seating, but it's not high like a
Right.
stadium or anything.
Right.
It's just a fabulous place to have it. And to learn history and mystery and folklore of Cleveland, it's just a wonderful evening. If you haven't come, you've missed it.
They have. They absolutely have. And so you need to go get your tickets because there will be a limited number of
Right.
tickets because this is Black Box. And this is not at the Dixon. This is not
Right.
at the Con. This is in the Black Box, which probably max, if you pushed it, 175.
Well, I don't think we can get 175, 150, because they've already got the stage for another production
Ah,
right now, and
okay.
they won't tear that down.
I
It'll
got
be
you.
there.
I got you.
So it's
Okay.
going to be about 150.
Okay. All right. So tickets at the Chamber of Commerce or
On Ocoee
Bank of
Street.
Cleveland.
On Ocoee Street.
No, on Key Street or Bank of Cleveland. So anything else you want to tell us about this?
I don't think so. Just thank you for letting me do this.
Oh, I
And
appreciate you coming
again,
on and
if
telling
you
me that.
haven't come, it's hard to tell you how wonderful it is just us talking about it. You just have
It
to
is awesome.
experience
It is awesome. It's great. And you just get, because you're sitting right there with the storytellers,
Right.
you just get enthralled, and
Yeah.
and you're just waiting on the tale, and then but it's not a spooky tale.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not a jump out and say boo
Yeah.
tale.
Well, and these things right here are real. I mean, these
Yes.
really happened.
Yes.
This is not something that we made up. It really happened.
And obviously, the Stamper Ghost is pretty real too. Since
It is
people
pretty
keep
real.
seeing it.
Apparently now it's more real than ever.
I mean, made it from Alabama
I mean,
up here and everything. Yeah.
It was in 3 weeks' time. Those girls didn't know anything about either one. But the young girl that was the intern with Melissa, she goes to Bradley High School, and she's credible.
Well, now, does Joe ever say anything about seeing, or does,
He's never seen. I've asked him that.
Oh, okay.
He has never ever seen. He just knows the rumors, the Posey, the Kennedy family. He just knows
Okay.
of the rumor. He has never seen it. Neither has. Well, I'll be done. Her name just
Almeida?
went out of head.
No.
The bookkeeper forever down there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Peggy.
Peggy.
Peggy has never seen it either.
Do they hear noises or anything? Is there?
It's just
Okay.
really odd.
It's just that she picks who
Apparently,
she
it's
wants.
just select people
That's
that get to do it.
Absolutely. Dwight, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being on with
You're
me.
welcome.
And I hope everybody will go out Friday, the 13th of October at 7 o'clock, Communication Building. Get your tickets now.
Right.
And I'm going to try to run by and get mine tomorrow.
Good deal.
Yes, because I want to be sure I have a ticket, because it is really, really fantastic, folks. So,
Thank you, Nancy, so much.
well,
We
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for putting this together. I know you're not one of the storytellers, but somebody has to gather the
Oh,
group.
let me say one more thing.
Oh,
I'm
please
sorry.
do. Please do.
Proceeds for this goes to Allied Arts
Mm-hmm.
of the Chamber, which has arts and education that you're a big part of at Cherry's Jubilee. So your money's going to your children and your grandchildren
Mm-hmm.
and all that in schools, plus a portion also goes to Cleveland Storytelling Guild.
Yes, and let me say this. This is the 25th anniversary
Yes.
of the Allied Arts
Yes.
of the Cleveland Bradley Chamber of Commerce. So we're trying to do some things to celebrate that.
Right.
This was already planned, but that's what we're calling our October event.
Right.
And our September event was the Cowpea. And so now we've got this. It's going to be the October.
Right.
And there'll be something else coming up in November. And I may have to get you back on to tell me some more things.
Well, if things go right, we're going to have a big gala in January,
Yes.
so we can come back and do
Yes,
that.
okay, very good. So Dwight, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Folks, again, don't go away. We're going to commercial, and watch our commercials, support our sponsors, and because they help pay our bills. And I'll be right back with upcoming events, so don't go away.